Hola, palomitos. That means popcorn in Spanish. Why? Well, I generally like popcorn, so take it as a compliment. Today's video, spoiler alert, is going to be a lot of talking. I'm unpacking that question that I asked a couple weeks ago about what has led me to this point, why am I here, how did I end up here, and putting this into a cohesive story has been both challenging and a lot of fun. It requires a lot of digging into the annals of my photo and video library. And yeah, it kind of makes me feel like I'm writing a memoir or something. Thoughts and Memories by Ryan. But without further ado, the story of Ryan. Rated R for Ryan. I'm rather focusing on the last 6 years after high school because everybody knows what everyone else was doing in high school. You know, you grabbed your paper towels, you locked yourself in the room to dry your tears after watching The Notebook or Harry Potter 7 Part 1, rest in peace Dobby. Yeah, just standard high school nonsense. But anyway, the story actually starts in 2010 when, you know, our illustrious Uncle Pat offered me a job with his baseball company making recruitment videos, piquing my interest in videography. So I got to work a lot with baseball players trying to make the best recruitment video in a short amount of time to allow these players the most exposure that they can get for college recruitment. The videos themselves were pretty basic, and I wanted to take this a step further with videography, venturing a little more into my creative side. So I would make videos here and there with my friends just to dabble with some software, understand the processes, get more familiar with it. No! Many Americans are suffering from what we at the Diners Club like to call CLS. Cash loss syndrome. During the summer, Pat and I, alongside whatever crew tagged along that year, would travel the States to these baseball showcases. And arguably, I was seeing more stuff than the average 14-year-old through these travels. We visited a lot of Division I campuses such as Harvard and Boston College, visited landmarks like the Riverwalk of San Antonio. I was very lucky, very, very lucky. If you know Uncle Pat and his son Cody, which of course you do, you know that there's an affiliation with a certain school called Bethany Lutheran College. That is where Cody went to do both his undergraduate and graduate degree. Cody would tell me stories about this college, saying how amazing their media arts program was. Media arts was kind of all encapsulating of broadcasting, filmmaking, commercials, even audio production. A lot of Bethany students would partake in a lot of film contests as well as broadcasting for sports. I had no idea there was a program like that was kind of tailored to my interest at the time. I heard of a film major, but media arts was kind of the whole shebang, a utility program. So I knew, oh yes, I knew at 15 years old that I was gonna go at Bethany. Because I'm 15, I know everything. I mean, how could I be wrong? This plan to go to Bethany persisted without wavering from 15 all the way to 19. I never even considered anything else. I did not keep an open mind. My dad even questioned me one time why I was choosing Bethany. He talks about this a lot. After asking me that question, the only piece of evidence I could present in my favor was, well, Cody says it's a good school. I graduated high school. I did a year of community college because general education classes are a money scheme. And then I made my way to Bethany in Mankato with my best friend, Tim Weller. Living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a new city, it was so exciting. I was so ready to hop on board the Bethany train and just start learning actual professional skills in videography beyond the basic stuff that I knew. And the first thing that I signed up for when I got to Bethany was to join the Maverick hockey broadcast. So Minnesota State University, their Division I hockey program, their team is the Mavericks. The broadcast of those games is run by Bethany Lutheran College students. But before I could join the big league broadcast, I had to get some training with the equipment. So I helped the media arts department with a broadcast of a Johnny Cash cover band in the middle of Mankato. So I got to hold an actual camera that was bigger than my head instead of just this little handheld digital device. This thing was on my shoulder. Like, it was really, really cool to see things start to come together. I saw how the broadcasting technology came together to link the cameras. Step after step, I was able to make it onto the broadcast team for the hockey games, establishing myself as, why can't I fucking talk? Why did I say my shelf? I don't even own a shelf, except for that one. Establishing myself as a hard worker. Got a lot of work ethic up in this bitch. Furthermore, having an affiliation with the media arts department at Bethany meant you had access to their alumni network. A lot of alumni would come back and reach out to find media arts students if they needed like a production assistant or just bringing someone on for a project. So one time, my professor got a call from an alumnus who commonly works with a lot of professional sport teams, especially Minnesota, of course, because he's from here. And he needed a production assistant for his Timberwolves media shoot. This guy and his team was one of like 30 teams that were at this huge skyscraper putting together all the media content for the video board at games, for like Sports Center, a multitude of content. And I was lucky enough to get a shot at it. That's how I throw a basketball. Yeah, it doesn't go very far. I'm more of a dunker. So I traveled all the way to Minneapolis on a school day because fuck school. And I met up with this alumnus to help him set up for the Timberwolves shoot. And he set up, or we all set up, this circular track with the camera on a cart, and the player would stand in the middle of the track and the camera would go around and get these really cool shots.
And action! Look down! And look up! Look down, and then arms crossed, and find the camera. Nice. And yeah, just keep it playing. Yeah, just keep looking at it. Yep, and cut.
Every single player, including the mascot, was at this shoot. So you could imagine how much poop was in my pants. I shook one of the players' hands, and I am not exaggerating when I say that his fingers went down to here on my arm. It was terrifying. However, the excitement quickly faded after about the first hour when I found out what my job was going to be for the next 12 hours. If you see the fog in this photo, the fog was my job. My job was to hold this window-looking thing and fan out fog into the middle of the track to make it more aesthetic. I knew that you had to work your way up in the industry, start as a production assistant. You don't come out of college becoming a director. But fucking A, I really didn't realize what the ground floor was really going to look like. I thought it was fine, and I knew I wanted to do bigger and better than just fanning a fog machine. And now I get to put that on my resume. Professional fog blower. After firsthand experiencing what a professional shoot looks like, the amount of things that can go wrong, and trust me, there are so many things that can go wrong, and the high stress levels, the high pressure to get people in and out on schedule, the long hours, I started to reflect really heavily, and not in a very positive way. I'm sure it wasn't the first time I experienced major anxiety with, a sprinkle of depression. But it was certainly one of the most memorable times. I was thrown for this huge tailspin because the thought of maybe this isn't for me crossed my mind. That one thought meant that I would be throwing out all those years I dedicated to pursuing this Bethany plan. And then what? If not media arts, then what? If not film, all this stuff that I told my dad, I'm so certain I'm gonna do this, but I'm not going to. Now what? Now what do I do? Not once during that time did I even consider what else I could pursue. I shot myself in the foot. I didn't know myself well enough, and I was completely ignorant to my other potential interests because I only wanted to do one thing: go to one school, the school that I selected, to make sure that I was in the right. So you can imagine how egotistical that is. If I had the chance to talk to 15-year-old me, I would roundhouse him to the face with some reality to open his stupid eyes and pay attention to himself, get a better grasp of where he fits, or even possibly take like a transformative year away from school to understand myself a little better and know what I want to do as like a future career. Gain a better self-comprehension. I didn't do it. I had tunnel vision on this goal because I had a desire to be right about my own life. And that's not to dismiss my actual interest in filmmaking, because I genuinely do love it. But I loved it because it was fun. It brought my friends together. It was something I wanted to do as opposed to having to do it. And that one day with the Timberwolves made me rethink if I really, really wanted to continue this on a professional level. It sparked the thoughts I should have had before going to college, including what does the job security look like in that field? Where would I go if I landed a job? Do I really want to be a freelancer for a long time until I can find a secure job? On the other hand, I was also thinking about what I wanted out of a college experience. I wasn't making too many friends at Bethany. It really wasn't what I wanted out of college in terms of meeting people, joining clubs, getting involved, etc. While all of those thoughts were ruminating in my head, I was still attending classes at Bethany. And I don't really have anything against Bethany. Of course, I don't want to badmouth a school, but I don't think a school where you have to take roughly 15 credits, a whole semester worth of religion courses, in addition to your majors coursework, was the place for me. It's not for everybody. That's college in a nutshell for you. Furthermore, I didn't feel the quality of the education that I was getting justified a lot of money I was paying to be at a private school. Thus comes to the conclusion of the first part of this two-part video, which I have just now decided in real time is now going to be a two-part video because it's going to be too long. The conclusion of this part was making the decision to leave Bethany, to go somewhere else, find a different major. All of this happened in fall 2016 semester, and the idea of leaving the school I banked on for so many years after one semester was bittersweet, but also kind of funny looking back on it. At the time, I was lost, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I hated the idea of giving up. Now, 2020 Ryan will look back and think of it like a 5-year-old trying a vegetable. Tried it once, hated it. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm happy I can reflect on these times now that I feel more in tune with my place in life. Even though that Bethany, that journey felt distasteful and I regretted it for a long time, it was the stepping stone to a far more fulfilling path. I'm at a place in life where I'm content, and I was only able to reach it through navigating my prior obstacles. Had I finished a degree at Bethany, I wouldn't be making this vlog because I would have graduated, I would have been looking for a job and hopefully found one. I wouldn't have had the friends that I have today. I wouldn't have met Sarah. Wouldn't have gone on a spring break trip with you, Sarah, Meg, and Wally and discovered there was a lot more friendship there than we knew about or even tried to pursue until that point. So although the answer to why I'm here is not fully complete, stay tuned for part 2. A contribution to that answer comes from this story. The Bethany obstacle was the reality check that I needed to start actually paying attention to who I am as opposed to what I think I should be or what I actually want it to be. Bethany taught me to listen to myself and to not ignore the red flags. Number 1, if something doesn't feel right, you probably shouldn't keep doing it for 2-3 more years until it's done. The rest of this story will be in the next video, exploring what happened after Bethany. God, I keep talking as if Bethany is like some ex-girlfriend or something. I hope you enjoyed this small portion to my story, and I'd love to hear more about your time at the U and the things you did. But also, to your point, I'd love to see videos exploring the psychology of exercise. That clearly interested you, and it's clearly interesting to me, and I think you should be able to make a great video about it. And so, take it away. It's yours. Khan Academy is an empire that must be destroyed from the inside. And the only way to fight a center for knowledge is through cheap vlogging. Viva la resistance.
Do those pesky thugs on that street keep stealing your wallet? Well, what if I told you that there was a solution? Diners Club new credit card. Do you like the credit card? We'll have some more.